In 1994, Shaumba Yanja Dibinga founded Origination Cultural Arts Center in Roxbury, Massachusetts. It was created as a nonprofit organization that specializes in implementing innovative and dynamic programs which motivate, challenge, and inspire youth to be the best they can be through quality dance, theater arts, and African history education. Dibinga and her two sisters, Musa M. Dibinga and Mwadi B. Dibinga, began their quest to spread the gift of dance and African culture to the city of Boston. This quest was a product of the struggle they endured as Congolese immigrants in America. In 1960, a nationalist movement arose in the Congo. Citizens of what was then Belgian Congo wanted to free themselves from the Belgian government. After riots and civil unrest, the Democratic Republic of the Congo gained its independence on June 30th, 1960. In their first election, Patrice Lumumba was elected prime minister, and Joseph Kasavubu was elected president of the new country. Though the country was now free, it was not stable. In the span of 1 year, the military mutinied, the governor of the Katanga province attempted to succeed, and Lumumba mysteriously died. Due to these events, Colonel Joseph Desire Mobutu took over the government, but later gave the power back to President Kasavubu. In 1965, Mobutu reclaimed the government after the continued unrest and rebellion. He then declared himself president for 5 years. He placed all power in his hands and was re-elected unopposed in 1970. Mobutu's rise to power was not one of total popularity among the citizens of the Congo.
My parents were staunch supporters of Patrice Lumumba, who after our independence was elected as prime minister of the country. He was ultimately assassinated by the CIA. And in his place, Joseph Seko Mobutu was put in power as president, and he made it his business to eliminate or make life very difficult for anybody who was outwardly against him and who were pro-Patrice Lumumba, and that category my parents fell into.
During Mobutu's reign, the parents of the Dibingas began to work to help the citizens of the country.
And most of the work that we've done has been with working with refugees, working in the church, and working with students in schools, building schools, providing an education. So more of the types of programs where the young people and the people in the village can uplift themselves.
To most people, this work is something that should be honored. But the Congolese government had a problem with citizens that didn't want to work for them. During a trip back to the Congo, their father was captured after previous assassination attempts.
Then there was another occasion where he was in a post office mailing letters back home, and the president's soldiers captured my father and threw him in a torture chamber. And so the work that my father did in the Congo was so good that the people, the president and the president's people, didn't want him to help anyone else. My father didn't want to work for the president because he didn't want to, be accepting blood money. And that's what the money was, blood money. So if you weren't going to work for the president, then you're just not going to work for anybody, you're not going to be able to see anybody, and we prefer that you were dead.
At one point, both parents were placed in refugee camps,
where the only communication they had with one another, because it was segregated by males and females, where they would leave notes in the showers. So, for example, my father would take a shower, leave a note in a certain place, my mother would find the note, and that's sort of how they lived.
In the late 60s, the Dibingas were brought to the United States, where their 9 children began their journey as Congolese immigrants in America. When they first arrived in the U.S., there were 2 Dibinga children, Musau and her older brother. Mwadi was the firstborn in the United States. Even though she was American-born, she still faced the same challenges as if she was born in the Congo.
I was tormented in grammar school because at one point my mother went back to the Congo. She was able to go in for a little while, and while she was gone, my father was left with us, right, and he didn't know how to do our hair. So he cut our hair. So we all had really short hair, which is not uncommon in the Congo. But in the United States, particularly the black community, your hair is your glory. So we got a lot of slack for that. So that year, when we were taking school pictures, I went to school, and I had a kikamba wrapped around my head. It was like an African headdress, and I thought I was really cute. And the kids have been harassing me on and off for, my entire grammar school situation. I was standing in line to take my picture, and this young man whose name began with a D, my last name begins with a D, was standing behind me, and as a joke, I guess they had conspired beforehand to see what they could do to Bob and Wadi that day. Right before it was my turn to take my pictures, he took a running step backwards, ran up, jumped, and dropped, kicked me in my back.
Violence from the American children towards the family extended to their mother.
I remember one day I was in the 5th grade, and I was attending the David A. Ellis School in Roxbury. And I remember my mother made a lot of our clothes, and I loved my clothes. And some people might have thought they weren't the most fashionable things, but we wore them, and I loved them. And my name was embroidered because she had an embroidery machine, and she embroidered my name across my chest. It was a flower skirt. It was a dress. It was flowery on the bottom, white on the top, and then the sleeves matched the skirt. So I had flowery puffs on my shoulders. It was really cute when you think about it. But the people at my school didn't really embrace it. So that's when I got called African Bush Boogie, go back to Africa, you can't afford to buy any clothes on your own, and got chased home that day. My mother usually waited for us on the porch, and that was the day that they threw rocks at my mom.
While America was hell on earth, the Congo provided a break from the ignorance of Americans.
It was a lot of fun. It was very safe. We had a house in the village, and we had a house near the airport, which was more modern. And I always, my biggest memory is running around in the village. Like, we could run around 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and nobody would bother us. We could jump in the river at any time and just kind of hang out and swim.
The rough childhood of the three sisters led to a love of dance that would provide an escape from their harsh reality.
I started dancing in the 6th grade. My friend Maria Silva, who was from Venezuela, invited me to her dance concert, which was in Watertown. And I had to beg my parents to let me go because they refused to let me go. And I finally got my friends to get her parents to drive me there. And I saw all these amazing costumes and the music, and I got so excited, and I felt that was something I could do. So I begged my parents to let me and my sister Wadi take class. And that was kind of hard for them to do because we lived in Mattapan at the time, and the school was in Watertown. We were the only black girls in the school of 300 white kids. And so they finally let us go on one condition, and that was that we took our youngest sister, Yanja, which we didn't want to do because we felt like she was a little sister pest. But she kept harassing us, so we finally went and took our first class, and it was just an amazing experience because we finally felt like it was something that we could do. We could express ourselves without having to talk and just dance.
Though they were the only 3 students of color in the school, it opened doors.
I think that the talent that I had wasn't talent that a lot of other people had. And some people admired it, some people were jealous of it, some people, although they couldn't stand where I was from, they wanted to be like me. And that made me feel like, okay, I have one up on you. I'm from Africa, that's okay, you don't like that. Now I have something that you want. I have something that you may not do so well. But I never took that and used that to make people, feel small. I just took the way they felt about me and just used it to make me be even better.
The love continued into adulthood. One summer, Shamba made the decision to create a summer camp for children of the community.
I decided to create a performing arts summer program and see where that was going to take me. And that summer was a very hard summer for me because I wanted to have, about 25, 30, 40 young people, and I started off with 5. I cried a lot because I just didn't see it going anywhere, and I was like, why is it that other people can start these big organizations and everything can go so well, and here I am, I still have 5 people, where are all the children, where are all the young people?
After that first summer, more children came into the Origination family. With the foundation of the 4 professional dance companies, Origination became a powerhouse in the northeastern dance scene. However, the achievement of the 3 sisters has not caused them to forget where they came from nor their love of dance. They still teach dance and African culture to their students. They know their Congolese roots have gotten them to where they are today. It is something they appreciate and is something they will never forget.
It was hard feeling like isolated, like nobody wanted to be friends with the African girl. All of my friends were from foreign countries. Like the Americans especially the black Americans treated us the worst. And it just felt really lonely at times. All the experiences that I've had through the bullying, through the abuse, through the harassment, I would have never found a way to give back, because I can relate to what a lot of the young people are going through now with all the bullying and harassment and the problems. And so we've learned through that, and that's helped me just be a better person and then just give back in a better way.
Dance became it for me. It was my lifeline. I felt like there's no other place, there's no other situation where you feel so alive, where all your passion can come out. Then I began to choreograph, and I really was able to tell my own personal story that was different, but I was able to discover the beauty of my difference, and now I celebrate it. Celebrate the difference. I love being unique. I love that my name is different, here anyway. I love that my style is different, the way I think is different, my perspective is different. I've learned to really see the beauty and the differences of others as well. I'm so thankful.
I love my Congolese ancestry and my Congolese background much more than the American side of me. And initially I used to think that's a bad thing, but I don't. I love the fact that I'm part Congolese. I love the fact that my parents came here from the Congo. I love the fact that we have family there, we have roots there. You know, we have, our ancestors are from there. We have such a strong culture that there's no way it can be denied. And it helps me be humble. It helps me be better. It helps me believe in something that's out of this world. So it's amazing for me.